Best of times. Got tearing apart.
Because it's from
1893.
Yep.
Because that says old, but it's so broken it can't even do anything else.
All right.
Today we're
Naughty Little
starting.
Prince. But today we're starting here. The Naughty Little Prince. Did you ever read about a small prince whose name was Franz Joseph? When he grew up to be a man, he was emperor of a powerful country in Europe. But I want to tell you about him when he was a little boy, only 8 years old. Small princes like games and sports just as well as peasant boys do. They like to play with other little boys their own age too. Prince Franz Joseph had a pretty smiling face. All the small boys who lived near the palace liked him. They used to gather in the street and watch him when he came out to take his morning rides. When they saw him, they tossed their caps up high up in the air. They shouted, "Long live our little Franz Joseph." Then Prince Franz would bow to them. Sometimes, too, he would throw kisses to the little peasant boys. But Franz Joseph was not always a happy little prince or a good little prince. He was not allowed to run and sport in the fields nearly so much as the small peasant boys. He did not like that. One morning, Franz Joseph was left all alone in the courtyard. By and by, all the small peasant boys laughed and clapped their hands at the funny sight they saw. They saw a dusty ox cart coming out of the gate. Prince Franz Joseph was perched upon the seat as driver. The royal rogue laughed and shouted. He threw kisses to the other little boys. In disgrace. But he was caught before the cart passed the gate. He was led back to the palace. He was chided. He felt very unhappy as he sat by the window and looked down into the street. He could not open his school books. "I do not see the use of being a prince at all," he said he. "I think a prince ought to have his own way. Anyhow, it would not hurt a prince to learn how to make mud pies. Every little boy in the empire except me can make all the mud pies he likes." His tutor spoke to him. "Will your Royal Highness please attend to your lessons?" "No, I will not attend to my lessons," says Prince Franz Joseph. Then his small feet went through a pane of glass. "I must put your Royal Highness in the corner," said his tutor. So Franz Joseph was put in the corner just like any little peasant boy. His lunch was brought to him in the corner. He would not eat it. He sat there and looked naughty for 2 hours. But he came out at last a better little prince. Then he went to ride in a beautiful carriage.
With S-E-F right there?
S-E-F, yeah.
S-E-F.
This story was written by S-E-F.
S-E-F.
Then he went to ride in a beautiful carriage, but I think he would have preferred the ox cart. He wanted to flourish the big whip, and shout at the oxen. S-E-F.
Now we're reading this one.
When all are asleep. A bonny lassie. Her name is Christy MacDonald. She lives in the Highlands of Scotland. Bonny is a Scotch word. It means pretty. It also means merry. Little Scotch girls are called lasses. Lasses. Little Scotch boys are called laddies. See how pretty Christy looks in her tartan petticoat, her green jacket, and little cap. Tartan is the name of the bright plaid that the Highlanders of Scotland wear. Both the men and women wear it. This is Christy's holiday dress. She carries a small English flag in her hand. She is going to a fair, perhaps. See her pretty plaid stockings? When she is at home, she often goes barefoot in warm weather. Christy can read, but she does not have many books to read. She knows a great deal about some things. She knows a great deal about flowers and birds and animals. Christy lives among the mountains. She can climb like a little goat. Her father is a shepherd. She takes care of great flocks of sheep. Christy often stays with him all day out on the hills. When the sheep have eaten all the grass at one place, he drives them to another. He has many shepherd dogs. These dogs help him drive the sheep. Sometimes a sheep is caught in a thorn bush. If the shepherd did not get it out, it would die there. Sometimes a hungry eagle tries to carry off a lamb. The shepherd drives him away. Sometimes a fox comes prowling around. He too wants a lamb. In the winter, there are terrible storms in the Highlands of Scotland. The snow comes very fast. The shepherd tries to find a shelter for his sheep. Sometimes they are buried very deep under the snow. Then a wise shepherd dog finds the sheep. He runs about over the snow. He sniffs. Pretty soon he stops and barks. The shepherd digs down into the snow, and there is a sheep. It is alive. Then he digs out another sheep. Sheep can live many days under the snow. Christy knows all about the sheep. She has a pet sheep. I will tell you about it. There is a beautiful stream of water not far from Christy's home. The water runs fast. The banks are steep. One day a sheep and lamb were walking by the side of the stream. The lamb fell in. The swift water carried it away. The poor mother stood on the bank and bleated. Bruce, the brave shepherd dog, heard her bleat. He ran down the hill. He plunged into the water, seized the lamb in his mouth, He brought it out to Christy. It was wet. It shivered. Christy took it home. She warmed and fed it. After that, it was a great pet. It often puts its nose into Christy's pocket for cold bannock. A bannock is a Scottish name for an oatmeal cake. The Scottish eat a great deal of oatmeal. We'll make this our last page. Okay. A bonny lassie. Oh, we're still reading this story. That's deer. That's the
deer?
wild deer.
A wild deer. Read the words.
Sometimes when Christy is out on the hill, she sees the wild deer. Sometimes she sees wild goats. Sometimes she sees a great golden eagle up far above her head. It is called a golden eagle because its head is a fine gold color. Its beak is dark blue. On warm sunny days, Christy likes to lie down on the heather. It's soft and fragrant. The heather blossoms look like a tiny pink bell. The bees are fond of these sweet heather bells. They come in great swarms to gather the honey that is in the pink bells. The merlin builds its nest in the heather. It's a very large bird with big round eyes. Christy often finds a merlin's nest. She knows the reddish brown eggs. She knows where the chinfinches build. Chaffinches?
Ah, you're messing up.
She knows the nest of the red grouse. The bird knows. There's a merlin.
A merlin?
That's what they call
I
them.
haven't seen a merlin. Right? I want to see it.
We might
See one?
see one, or we call it kind of looks like a kite, which is like a hawk. She knows the nest of the red grouse. The bird knows Christy too. They are not afraid of her. When she is lying on the heather, they will come near to look at her. One day she saw a great snowy owl take a fish out of the loch. A lake is called a loch in Scotland. Christy lives in a small cottage. The walls are made of mud. They are whitewashed. Its roof is thatched with dry heather. Christy's mother keeps her house very neat. She does not burn wood in the stone fireplace. She does not burn coal. She burns peat. Peat is found in swamps or bogs. It is cut out in thick square pieces. They set up on one side to dry, then they are turned over on the other side. Almost all of the people in the Highlands of Scotland burn peat. You would not like the smell of the smoke, but they do. Christy always goes with her father and mother to get the peat. They go in the summer. A great many other people go too. Many little lassies and laddies go. They have good times. This story was written by F.A.H. That pawn to's Christmas. Okay, so tomorrow or next time we read, we'll start here. A birthday doll. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Bye.